experience? Hop on the Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tour and explore Grenada like never before. Feel the tropical breeze, sip on authentic Caribbean rum punch, and cruise through Grenada's stunning scenery in our unique and fun tuk-tuks. It's the perfect blend of adventure and island flavor. Book your unforgettable tour now at ride.gd or call 473-422-1011. Don't just see Grenada, experience it with Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tours today.
Today. Located inside Rider Excursion at the Esplanade Mall, we handle both small and large orders with speed and precision. For fast, quality t-shirt printing, call Instaprint at 473-422-1011. Get your perfect print today at Instaprint. Printing done in an instant.
Yeah. Welcome to Ride Along Live for Monday. Yo. Happy Monday. Whoa. Guys, for those of you who have not been paying attention, so we fell back an hour, right? So some of you guys in Grenada and the Caribbean and other parts of some parts of the diaspora, it's a different time, right? Yeah, but I'm still at 6. It's still 6 here at my time. But just because they fall back, daylight savings time ended, we seem like, well, your time is different than my time. So going forward, right, until right before summer again, after spring, that's going to be the time for you, right? So if it's 7 p.m. where you are, that's going to be your time, 7 p.m. Okay? Folks in New York and Canada, same time. Folks in England, you're getting us an hour earlier. It's now, I believe it's 10 o'clock in England. Yeah? Daylight saving time, it tricks people up a bit, but got to get used to it. Ansel Charles, how are you? All right, guys, so this is what I want everybody to do. I want everybody to add followers because there are a lot of people who ain't hip to the timers yet. So we got to get them hip to the time. Add followers for everyone. Do it right now for me, please. Pretty please. Ansel, big up. Abigail, big up yourself. You 2 hours behind. Love Child Kim, you 2 hours behind? Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Let me add followers, some people. So if you're 2 hours behind, it's what, 5? It's 4 p.m. by you? Trips people up all the time. Yeah? All right. Add followers. I want everybody to add followers for me. So it would give everybody a notification that we are on. Because today we have an interesting program. My next guest, she have been shot 10 times. Listen, not once, not twice, not 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, not 8, not 9. My next guest, she was shot 10 times. Now, she's been on the program before, and she's back because we wanted to conversate a bit more because there have been so much addition to what she was doing or what she did or what she has been doing. So I think it's important that we update everyone on her story. Very, very important story here. So go ahead, guys, add followers, please. And tag some friends because again, they might think that we're not on tonight, right? Because they didn't get notification. So add that followers. Thank you, Marva. Thank you, Destiny Child. Thank you so much. Let me also tag this up pin it up on the top of the page. Yes, good to go. Yes. Just keep tagging. Paula, how you doing? Thank you so much. Just keep tagging. All right. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate you. Monica, thank you so much. Before I bring on my next guest, also, guys, I want to do a roll call. It's been a long time, right? And because we changed time in different time zones, I want to know where you guys are watching us from. Just put up your location right there. Where are you watching us from? Where are you watching us from right now? Put up your location. Let me give you a big shout out. And the time zone. The folks from London, you guys are, it's almost your bedtime. Highlight, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Let me know where you guys are watching us from. Brooklyn, Dennis Nelson from Brooklyn. Oh, Dennis, we're on the same time. You don't have to worry about nothing. You're safe. Pampana Beach, Florida. Big up yourself. Grenada, of course. Just adorable. Grenada, of course. BVI. What time is it in the BVI now? What time is it in the BVI? Canada, Chiton. Hey, Harold Chiton. Yeah, we same time, my brother. Grenada, Jamie on YouTube. Thank you so much. Canada, we on same time. We're chilling. Good evening. Yes, Jackie Chiton, New York City. Lorraine Edwards, Grenada. Nice. Petersburg. Where's that? Normal time as Grenada. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. Brooklyn, New York in the house. New York. Love from Grenada. Okay. Got you guys. Nice. Big up yourself, Bella Joseph from Grenada. Thank you so much, Bella. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Tessa, Toronto. Toronto in the his house. YouTube. Greg Carico. Carico is amazing. Thank you so much, Carico. Doug, Brooklyn, New York. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Big up, Doug. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. All right, guys. So I want to bring back Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada and Trinidad. Terry Moses, sorry. Trinidad and Tobago. There's the United Nation today, guys. Everybody representing. Okay. So I will shout out everybody else at the tail end of the program. Petersburg, big up yourself. Brooklyn, big up yourself. So I want to reintroduce my guest again. Um, boy, let me tell you, when talk about a strong woman, this my next guest, she's the personification of a strong black woman. Yeah, my next guest was shot 10 times, as I said earlier, and it's a miracle because some people get shot once and they have not returned to tell the tale. Now she's here to share her story. Um, let's all welcome her to the ride right now, ladies and gentlemen. Maury Brandon is here with us.
Hi,
How are you?
I am here, well and blessed.
Yeah, let me tell you. You have to say bless again, we. You have to say bless again because
I'm
you have
blessed.
you have to be probably the most blessed person in the face of the earth. Like it have to be.
Yes, I
Don't
am.
you feel that way, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Every day when I wake up, I am just so thankful for life in itself. It's you like you said, it's people who've been shot once and haven't lived to tell the story. So I'm that person that's here that's been shot 10 times that can tell the story, from the eyes of a victim of gun violence. There's people who are victims and now are in the count of homicides. And I'm here to tell the story of that tragic day for me,
Yeah.
you know.
Tell us about before we get to that tragic day. Tell us about moments before that tragic day. Let's go back a day. Let's go back a few 24 hours prior to that particular day. How did that day turn out? Was there anything particularly significant leading up to that?
No, I'm gonna go back some time before this, before
No
that,
problem.
the day before. I'm gonna take you back to 10 years prior.
Good.
when
Okay.
I was in a when I was in a store and I met a prophet. I met a lady who walked up to the store. The store was crowded. It had
Uh-huh.
about 30 people in line. I was in line.
Uh-huh.
And she said she needed to talk to me. She said God had sent her to me and she needed to talk to me because there was some things that she needed to tell me. And I said, why me? Out of all these people online, why me? I'm thinking this lady's trying to sell me something, right? So she said, as I'm leaving out the store, because I was going to try to dismiss her, but she told the lady behind her, can you please hold my spot? I need to talk to her. I need to
Mm.
speak with her. And so um, I waited. She asked me to wait and I waited. And she said, God sent me to you. She said, it's three things. She said, I don't know what's going on in your household, but she said, you need to stand firm on whatever it is. I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so she said, and the second thing, she said, somebody on your job don't like you. And I said, everybody on my job like me. I'm a person, I get along with everybody. She said, you'll soon find that out too. That was 5 years after I met her. And so then, as she was speaking with me, she jumped back off me and she just was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, they all around you. And I got scared. And I said, what's all around me? And she said, God's heavenly angels. And one day you'll witness that too. So I had an opportunity to witness that. I had an opportunity to witness all of it, everything that she has spoken to me. But
Wow.
24 hours before I had gotten shot, my day was as normal as a day could be, being a mother, a wife, um, a founder of a nonprofit, um, a community person. I mean, I did a lot, I was doing a lot with friends and family, um, all of that. My day was just as normal as anyone else's day.
Mm-hmm.
The very next day, one of my sponsors, who was sponsored the young ladies in the program, she was a retiree of the Department of Defense. Um, she was scheduled to have some work done on a port because she was receiving dialysis care.
Mm-hmm.
And so she asked me, every month I would either take her to the store, grocery shopping, or to a doctor's appointment, something that she needed to do every month. So this particular time, she needed to go and have her port adjusted because she was having problems out of it. So that
Mm-hmm.
was on the schedule for the next day. So moving forward to the next day, I picked her up as scheduled, took her to the appointment, dropped her off, and her assigned nurse that was scheduled, assigned to her for that day said, I'll call you when she's ready. Um, that I said, well, okay, well, while she's being taken care of, I'll go out and I end up turning on the app. It's, the app called Instacart where you
Right.
shop and go shopping for people. So I turned the app on. I said, let me kill some time and make some money while I'm waiting for, um, you know, my older friend, right? And so as I was going in a particular area of Baltimore, which is, um, east side, what they would call northeast side of
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, I was riding across and I noticed at this I was coming across a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was coming across the crime scene, I said, oh my goodness, I said, let me call and check and see where my kid was because he went to school in that area and I knew that in that particular area he hung out with friends and everything.
Right.
So when I called and went to speak with my husband had said at the time, he said, no, he just left out. He went to a doctor's appointment, um, you know, with his girlfriend because at the time she was expecting a baby. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he went to a doctor's appointment with her. I said, oh, I said, well, somebody just got shot up here. And I said, wow. I said, I'm saying a prayer for the family, or whatever. So my next to the oldest son said, Mom, he said, can you come around to the back? I left my light on in my car all night long. And he said, I need a jump start
Mm-hmm.
on my car. So I said, okay, I'll drive around to the back and meet you back there. So I drove around to the back of my home, which had a driving pad. And it was, the houses were, I lived on an end group of houses, and my neighbor, our yards were like together, but they were separate, right?
Right.
And so while I was back there, my son and I noticed when we were back there, we noticed that there was a truck of about four guys that came driving to the back. Up the back part of it. It's not really it's an alley, but it's not an alley where everybody would think it's an alley. It's like the back of home where somebody could park at. So they
Right.
drove up there. So we looking and we're like, who's that? Because we know everybody who lives on the block, and we know that it was like a local bar that's been in the community for years. We know that they don't open up until a certain time of the day. So we were like, they weren't going up to the local bar or anything. So about, I would say about 5 to 6 minutes later, um, we noticed two young men um, coming towards us through my neighbor's yard, because they had to come down towards my neighbor's yard and then cut over and come through my back gate. And my son said, Mom, you know who that is? And I was like, no. And he was like, run. And as we started to run, we end up going separate ways. I think
Mm.
my son thought at that time that I was going to run with him, but I didn't. I ran opposite of him. And so when I ran opposite of him, the one gunman was shooting at my son, um, and the other young man uh, started running and chasing me down.
Right.
And
So hold on.
uh,
So stepping right there real quickly. At that point in time, did you get a glimpse of the young men?
well, actually, the young man that was approaching me, I knew right off the bat who he was.
Mm. How did you know? How did you know? Was he wearing something specific?
Because
Look a certain way?
I knew right off the bat because my son was friends with a young man that he had been friends with since he was about 12.
Uh-huh.
They used to ride bikes together. A group of little kids used to ride bikes together in the neighborhood. And, at times, they would come in the house and I would give them snacks. And I noticed that this particular kid had end-toe feet
Mm.
at the time. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, wow. I said, I haven't seen what most people was, instead of them saying end-toed, they would say pigeon-toed,
Pigeon-toed. Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Right. And so I
He
was
walk
just
a kind
like,
of funny kind of way.
he walked, yes,
Okay.
yes. And so that was one thing about myself, when I invite these young kids in my home, when they were my children friends, I always was the parent that had the discussion with them. I always was the parent that kind of showed them tough love. Um, they were able to come to my house to get drinks, food, whatever, stay the night, whatever my husband and I was always welcoming of the kids in the community, right?
Right.
And so I knew this distinctive characteristic and I think in body movement of this young man. I
Mm-hmm.
remembered it. And so um and I also remember seeing him 2 weeks prior and saying to my husband also, wow, he gained a lot of weight. He had gotten a little bit thicker. right?
Ah.
And so um when he was running towards me, he was running with his feet in, right?
Oh.
And so I said, "Oh, I know that walk. I know that walking from somewhere. I know that run from somewhere. You know, because I remembered him. I remember it just was like my whole the whole imagery of him. I
Right.
remembered it. It was just like a click, just like that. And so when he chased me down, I'm telling you, the Holy Spirit just said, "Stop running." So when I stopped running and I turned around and I looked at him, I put my hand up to him and I said, "Don't you shoot me." And I looked him
Mm.
straight in his eyes. I looked him straight in his eyes and I said, "I know who this is, you know." And so I said, "Don't you shoot me." I said, "Don't you effing shoot me." And he shot me in my face. That was the first
Ooh.
shot. And I remember grabbing my face.
Mm.
He shot me here and the bullet went through my jaw and came out and exited this way. Didn't hit none of my teeth. All I had was like a little gash where it must have came a little under my tongue, but it didn't even destroy nothing on my tongue.
It just went
You
straight
know,
through. But hold on one second.
it just went
When
straight.
you stood there and you appealed to him, please don't shoot. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm great.
Right.
I'm great. Come back up. Go ahead.
When you stood there and you appealed to him, to his human side, asking him, "Don't shoot you." Did he say anything? Did he smile? Did he smirk? Did he move a certain way? Did he utter anything to you?
He did not utter anything to me. He did not say one word. Not one word.
So he just pulled the
Um,
rifle out, and you standing there
He
with your
pulled out.
hand up.
It wasn't. He pulled out. It was a 45. I believe it was a 45 caliber. I actually have a picture of the gun that he shot
That
me
shot
with.
you. So he
I think it
pulled
was
out the
like a
45. And how close was he in proximity to you? Like, was he straight?
probably um probably like two hand lengths,
Really?
two arm lengths, like two arm lengths. He
Uh-huh.
was like two arm lengths because I was able to put my hand out and he was still kind of like a little bit back, and he
Right.
shot me in my face. The that first shot felt like um a stack of books that, like, if somebody take a stack of books and hit it on the desk, like,
Mm.
that's what it felt like in my face. And that's when I grabbed my face. And I remember growing up, my grandmother will always say to us when she was teaching us about the Bible to whenever the enemy came up against you or come up against you, you call on the name of Jesus and you keep on calling Jesus, 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 Jesus. And I remember going down and I remember holding my face and I remember saying Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And after that, I didn't remember anything else.
Well, stick up in there. You guys, if you just started to watch the program, we're speaking here with Marie, and she's telling us a story. This have to be probably one of the most resilient um, person that you would ever find. Now, so far, what she shared with us, she was being chased. Her and her son was being chased by two young men. Now, she could have identified, sort of, one of well, before I got there, her son went one location, she ran the other location, and she was followed by this young man. What was particularly striking about him is that she remembered her friend, right, coming to her house, her son friend coming to her house, and the way how his feet was, he had a buck foot, right? They call it in the Caribbean, I believe. So she identified, she could have noticed that from him. It so turned out that the individual that chased her with a gun had the same kind of walk, same kind of run, right? And she could have tell as well, although his face might have been, mask or whatever. She could have tell his body size because she recognized him. Funny thing is, he been to her house. She identified him as her son's friend who been inside of the house. He ate, he drank, he probably sat on the couch, probably watched TV. He know the family. He know the mother. He knows the son. So as he pulled out that 45 and he pointed at her, she screamed at him not to shoot her, right? And you know what the bastard did? He pulled that gun out and he shot her right in her face, right? But that's not all. There is more. So he shot you. He aimed for the head. He didn't want
Mhm.
to. He didn't want to shoot you in the foot, or he didn't want to break a limb. He just wanted to get rid of you
Nope.
because that was a headshot. That was an
Oh
execution
yeah,
style headshot. That's the aim.
absolutely. Um, all I can remember was when I did come to, um, I can remember my neighbor saying, "Oh my God, you shot Marty. Oh my God, you effing shot her. Why did you do that? She doesn't bother anybody." And I remember my husband um kneeling on the ground beside me. And I remember a police officer arriving to the scene, and he said, "I heard it. I heard the gunshots. I was near. I was near." So, and I remember my husband, you know, just starting to cry and saying, "Please, just stay with me. Just stay with me." And he was just saying, "Are you okay?" And then the officer said, "Where's she been shot?" And my husband said, "I don't know." And so he was asking me, and I never opened my eyes up at that time. All I could do was just hear the voices around me.
Right.
And
But
so,
but hold on, let's go back a bit because your last left off where he shot you once. So he shot you once
yes,
and you fell out, you went to the ground.
I fell to the ground.
So he
Hmm.
while
And
you on the ground, he shot you again?
he shot me 9 more additional times.
Ooh.
Shot me 9 additional times. He shot me my left shoulder here, my left arm, my left thigh, twice around my left breast, one shot underneath at the top of my stomach, underneath the left breast, and 3 times around my right breast. He
Hmm.
shot me. Hmm.
9 times. Headshot, chest shot, body shot, aimed straight for the heart. So he didn't want to scare you. He wanted to kill you. There was a
Yeah.
vengeance, serious
Oh
vengeance.
yeah.
Those shots to the breast, to the chest, that area there, he wanted to make sure that he finished you. No doubt.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was his goal. You know, that was his goal. Um, and the crazy part about it, I would have lost my life over a misunderstanding that he thought that my something that my son had involvement in, and he didn't. After the investigation and everything, um, not even an involvement. So he would have killed me for nothing.
That's the next
You
question.
know,
Because I'm thinking for someone to build up this hatred for you, you had to have done him something like serious.
and I bel and my son. I'm a mother of four sons, and my third son, which who he was friends with. Um, when he got to high school, he started to get into trouble with the juvenile system. And the only thing I can remember about this particular kid that probably would have made him really dislike me the way he did and take kind of, this is the only thing I could think
Right.
is, my son and him got caught in a stolen car. And when the police called me, they said, um, we have your son, and we got him out of a stolen car. And I said, wow. I say, I just left him from the house. I said, the only way I could think is, this particular young man came and picked him up in a
Mhm.
car.
Right.
Because I didn't see a car outside the house, um, and I didn't see my son with a car. So that was just my assumption. And so I can remember hearing this kid in the back when the detective had, because the detective had me on the phone, on a speakerphone.
Right.
And I can remember hearing this kid saying, your mother, she talked too much. She's a rat.
Mm.
Not knowing that I am a mother who cared not only for my child, but for him also, right? I welcomed him in my home. I fed him, you know. I I also gave them tough love and spoke my mind to them. But I guess the way some children are raised, they not very acceptive to, the way somebody else is raised, you
Yes.
know. So I just feel like that probably also was a part of his anger too. Like I remember when you told the detective that I probably was the one who showed up in your house with the stolen car. You know,
Mm.
that's the only other thing I could think that he probably would have thought and felt like that he needed the revenge on me. I don't think for anything else, I did nothing but treated him nice. You
Right.
know,
Right. But it didn't
um,
matter. It didn't matter. He had
right?
hatred so much so that wanted he wanted you dead right there on the spot. So you went down, you fell. He shot a few more times, 10 times to be exact. When did you
Yes.
regain consciousness?
I regained my consciousness probably. I don't know how long I was laying there because I never opened my eyes. All I kept seeing, all I remember is just black and hearing voices, right?
Kind of
And
voices.
and at that point in time, I was scared to breathe. I really was scared to breathe. I really was scared to swallow. I was scared to do all these things because in my mind, I was saying I didn't want to choke off my own blood. I didn't want to just like breathe too hard and some kind of vein just bleed out, because I worked in the healthcare field. I worked in the healthcare field for
Right.
17 years, you know. Um, and I knew, I know about these body parts and stuff. So in my mind, I was afraid to do all these things, but I knew that I had to at least like let out a little bit of air, right? So I was taking like these short breaths, and I can remember the paramedics showing up, and I can remember the paramedic lady. I never opened my eyes, saying, "Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me." And I was mumbling because I couldn't talk because my jaw was broke,
Yeah.
and I had the laceration, the big laceration on the right side of my tongue. And I remember just saying to the paramedic, mm-hmm, 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 and just saying that to her. And once they put me on a stretcher and they lift me into the ambulance, um, and we got to driving, and the paramedic pulled up the shade part of the back of the ambulance. It was like
Right.
a covering she had. And I can remember as we were driving and I opened my eyes, it was just like, oh my goodness, it was just like the brightest light I have ever saw in my life.
Mm.
It wasn't, and it wasn't like a light where it was like one of them I'm coming to Jesus type lights where I'm dying. It wasn't that. I felt like a baby being born coming from out of the womb for the first time.
Oh.
And so I got to thinking to myself, you know, wow, what is this all about? Right? What is this really all about? And so I remember getting to the ER. I remember the trauma team being lined up on the wall. I remember the surgeons, everybody just taking over, hooking me up. I mean, just the whole team was just so amazing. Um, and they took really good care of me during the process. They asked me, what did I know my name? Did I know who did this to me? Um, I told them, yes, I do. Um, I couldn't tell them my name, but I was like, mm-hmm. I kept saying, mm-hmm, when they went to the questions. And so at that point in time, uh, they was like, we need a CT scan on her right away. We need to see where, these bullets had landed. And then I remember laying in the bed in the back and the surgeon coming to me, and she just started to rub me up and down my leg. And I'm like, wow, why is she doing this to me? And the surgeon said to me, she said, you are a miracle. And I said, me? And she said, yeah. And I said, what makes you say that about me? And she said, no other bullets hit any of your major organs.
So hold
She
on.
said,
This guy shot you 10 times and not one bullet hit a vital organ.
not one, not one, not one, not one.
Wow.
Yep, not one.
Wow. So you were just flesh wound. It was just all flesh wounds.
Yes, yes.
Because I was concerned,
And
I was going to ask you to be shot 10 times, somebody to take you and make a strainer out of you. The whole rehabilitation process would be difficult. But knowing that there were no major arteries, there was no major, any major part of your body, organs hit, you could have
nope.
just left the hospital the next day.
Yep, I could have, but my jaw, they thought they had to do surgery on my jaw. The one wound that I had in my on my left thigh was kind of deep, but that they packed that, you know. Um, I had to get up and start trying to walk with the occupational therapist and the physical therapist. Um, um, so they came, and got me up and started walking me. And then they started to notice that I was just like, I can do this on my own, and they decided to let me go. And I walked the hall and they was like, whoa. Um, it, and like I said, when I stated in the beginning, um, that the prophet that I met, she told me that God's heavenly angels was surrounding me and that one day I would see. And I believe the day I got shot was the day that I saw that.
Wow.
It was the day I saw that.
How has your life changed in the immediate aftermath of this?
You know, um, it's a it's definitely a life-changing experience because I had to end up packing up um a four-bedroom house, um and going to stay like in a witness protection program. Um your life changes in that way. You don't you have to you don't know if that person is going to try to harm someone else in your family. Um your life changes. I had a nonprofit. I was working with young ladies in the community. I would go to a community center like a couple times a week and work with young ladies who lived in high crime neighborhoods. Um, I just having to step back from that was heart wrenching. You know, having to just like protect my family, and in the process, um, with all that my son that was going my son who friendly was what he was going through. It was just it sent my family, you know, and close friends. They People were really angry. They
Yeah.
were angry. They were angry. And when this happened to me, I can remember the unit secretary coming to the back, and she said to me, she said, "You are one loved person." And I said, "Why did you say?" I'm writing stuff down and saying, "Why did you say that?" And she said, "There are hundreds of people out there for you." She said, "We don't know what to do with all these people." She
Mm,
said, "You are a loved person." And so, um, she said, I'm wondering." She said, she was talking to me, and I'm like, she said, "What do you do?" And I'm writing stuff down, and I'm like, "I'm just a person in the community that likes to help people."
right, right, right. But you know, a person in the community that like to help people, um, oftentimes get hated so much just because they are a person that is liked by people. And that's how
Right?
humans are. It just that's how it is. But I'm concerned about your son in that particular instant. When that guy ran after him, what did they do to him?
They were shooting at him, but my son didn't get shot. So when my neighbors came out and my husband came out, and my husband was like so irate, he was like, "Where's my son? Where's my son? Where's my son?" And he was like, "Did they shoot my son? Did they shoot?" Because he thought that my son was laying beside his car. And
Right.
my neighbor said, "No, he ran up the street. He went that way." And so my son started coming back down the street, and he was just screaming. I can remember hearing him screaming, hollering. It was like, "My mother, oh my God, my mother, my mother, my mother." And, I often say that um, I'm glad it was me and not my son. Because, that particular son had just graduated from college in January,
Hmm.
and he had just landed a job with the NAACP. And I don't think I would have been as nice as I was with myself that I would have been if it was my child.
Wow. So you endured the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes.
You were there to save
Yes.
your son. You were his angel while you had angels of your own
Yes.
in your life. That's truly remarkable, truly amazing.
Yes.
So you had
Mhm.
to, you had to move out, leave, or get on some witness
Yep.
protection program to be
The
away from?
recommendation from detectives and everything was to pack up and move. And I had to end up moving to another whole part
Hmm.
of Maryland and start my life over. Um, My husband worked at a local school that he had been working for over 20 something years. My husband knew thousands of kids. So I'm quite sure some of these kids that he probably were working with probably were relatives of this young man, and probably was friends of this young man, and probably knew this young man once they caught him, right? Um, so, you know, that whole part, right? That whole part, my other children that were going to school,
Yeah.
you know, it was it definitely was a life changing event. But the one thing that I knew was that God always promised me that He would never leave me nor forsake me, and
Mm.
that um, I felt like this was the part of the story and the part of the chapter of my life that I needed to go through, because I think for me, being being a wife that I was and had a husband, my husband never been in prison. My husband always had jobs. He was a good guy, well liked guy. All of that. We had four sons. We were very active in their lives. They did sports of all kinds. So we taking them places, trips, all we were very family oriented. And so for us to have to experience that, it was very shocking to a lot of
Yeah.
people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was very
Yeah.
shocking.
This wasn't the only shocking thing that happened. In fact, hold on. I think we have someone that's calling. Let me see if they're calling to get some of your strength on the live. Caller, you live. Are you calling about for the program? Caller, okay, live. You live caller. Where are you calling us from? Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. Go right ahead. You're live on the air. Okay. All right. Thought she called for the program. I guess she didn't. Yeah. So that wasn't the only big thing that happened to you. You endured a lot more after that. So you recovered. You fully recovered. You got out of the hospital. Um, what happened next was that was another life changer for you.
Um, After that, we moved and we started our lives over again. Um, and then 2 years after that, I lost my husband
Mm,
in 2022. So I got shot in 2020, and then 2 years after that, I lost my husband in 2022. Um, he had a massive stroke while cutting grass.
mm,
So he was the age of 49 when he had the stroke, but he ended up passing away 4 months later at the age of 50 because he turned 50 while he was in uh, rehabilitation.
right. Right. But you had some other health issues. Tell us about that
Yeah.
you had to overcome as well.
So when I got shot, so the crazy part about this story is like, it's just so amazing how God works. It's just so amazing how God works, right? So when I got shot, I had an incidental finding
Mhm.
of a heart aneurysm
Mm,
on my heart.
yeah.
It had measured about 3 centimeters, I believe, at the time. And so my cardiac so they set me up appointment with the cardiac surgeon. And again, God did me good, right? I'm not saying that all doctors aren't good, but my cardiac surgeon that they assigned me to happened to be the chief of the whole department,
Right.
right? So I was getting the best, right? So God was already putting me in the best hands that He could possibly put me in. He put me in the person that oversaw the whole cardiac surgery department, right? So um, when my husband passed, I I I I used to go for these every 6 months for CAT scans on my aneurysm. But when my
Hmm.
husband passed and got sick, um, I kind of stopped. I missed a couple appointments. I think it was about two, and I believe that during that time and dealing with the probably the stress of dealing with my husband health issues um and then him passing and stuff like that, I kind of forgot about myself. I lost
Mm,
myself in the midst of all of that. So I missed my CT appointments. So uh after he passed and I got him buried and put away and everything, I said, it's time for me to take care of me again, right? And so I go for a follow-up CT appointment, and the radiologist, the doctor, come out and he said, I can't let you leave. And I said, well, what's going on? He said, are you having any chest pains? I said, no. He said, no clamminess? I said, no. No sweats? I said, no. He said, no vomiting, no cramping, nothing? And I said, no. He said, He said, you have a pulmonary aorta dissection going on. I said, a
wow.
pulmonary aorta dissection. I
I know
said,
someone who died
really?
from that diagnosis.
Hmm. He said, "We can't let you leave. We have to send you straight to the ER." So I'm sitting there, and while I'm sitting there, I'm still not processing what he's saying. I'm
Right.
still not processing it. And I had a girlfriend of mine that was waiting out in the parking lot for me because she was meeting me to pick up something from me. And she was also a minister. My girlfriend is also a minister,
Right.
Minister Latonya Richards Turner. And so Minister Latonya comes in, I calls her and I says, are you here? Are you near? She said, I've been sitting in the parking lot. I said, well, I need you to come in because I'm getting ready to go to the ER. They say I have a aorta dissection, a pulmonary aorta dissection. She said, oh no, wait a minute, I'm coming in. And when she comes in, she says she could just see the panic on the whole front desk face, like all the people that were working front desk, they were just like in a panic. And
Right.
she could see the panic also on the radiologist's face. And um, she said, and when she looked at me, I just was like, still smiling, still happy. Just she said, and she took pictures of me and sent them to me. She said, you just act like you didn't have a care in the world. And she said, that ain't nothing but faith. And I said, that's what it was, because I felt like, um, if it's my time, it's my time. And if it's not, then God is going to keep me here. Right. And so, when I got, to the ER, um, my team, my cardiac surgery team met with me, and they said, um, since you're not having any of the symptoms, in the OR they had somebody already in the OR at the time, the particular OR that they needed. They said, you can wait, we'll do your surgery early tomorrow morning. They said,
Hmm.
you're not having no symptoms. And I said, no. And my
Wow.
cardiac surgeon said, wow. And so, um, he was like, wow. He said, I don't know. He said, when I first met you and you told me and how I met you about you getting shot 10 times, and that's how you found out you had the aneurysm. He said, I was just already looking at you like you are an amazing woman, right? He said,
Hmm.
now I'm looking at you again like, who is this lady really? Right. And so, I said, well, maybe in my past life I did something good, and it rolled over to this life. I don't know. God wants me here to do something. He wants me here to do something. He needs me here to let the world know that miracles are here, and that God is really who God says He is. I like that
Yes.
spirit is alive,
And
well, and walking and roaming the face of this earth.
absolutely.
It's a awesome feeling to know that you are highly covered and favored with
Yeah.
God's grace and mercy. It's like a feeling that is beyond, um it's indescribable. It's like, it's so indescribable. And so after I had my surgery, my recovery time, I stayed in the hospital, hmm, I think about a week.
Hmm.
I was up walking 2 days after the open heart surgery. Um,
Wow.
when I got home after a week, probably my second week, I was, going down the stairs. I would go sit on my front porch. I would walk down my driveway, walk back. Then I found myself doing that second week, walk down to the end of the street, walk back, and I gradually got myself back to this, right? And so, um, a couple months ago, I had to go back and see my cardiac surgeon, and he said, "You don't have to come and see me no more." He said, "Your heart looks good. It's healthy looking." He was like, "I don't," he said, "I don't know what else to say about you." He said, "I really don't."
Wow.
And
You're
so,
one of those,
um,
you're
he
one of
said,
those treasured people on the face of the earth. You
yes,
know, you
yes.
got shot 10 times. Um, gunshot that was meant for your heart didn't touch you in any vital organs, to your face, to your head.
Mhm.
Nothing registered. Now you had open heart
Found,
surgery and
help
out
me.
of there.
Look, and then listen, help me find that I had. So really,
Yes,
he was trying to take my life, but he saved my life,
save my life. That is crazy.
right?
That's how you
He
found
tried
out
to
that
take
you
my life.
had.
Exactly. And
Oh
my
shoot.
cardiac surgeon said that had I not got shot because I wasn't having any symptoms from the aneurysm, I probably wouldn't have known that I had the heart aneurysm until the day I had a heart attack.
So you kind of should have wanted to say thank you to the person that shot you
I,
10 times because he
absolutely,
actually saved your
absolutely,
life.
and that's why 2 weeks after I had come to Jesus moment while I was in the shower because my heart felt so heavy because I didn't want to hate him. I kept saying, Lord, I don't want to hate him. I don't want to hate him. And the Holy Spirit came to me and said, and I said, how do I get this elephant off my chest? Because my
Mhm.
heart just felt so heavy. And the Holy Spirit came to me and said, you have to forgive him. You have to forgive him. And I remember being in the shower at the time and I was crying and I just was crying and crying and I just was like, Lord, I forgive him. I forgive him. I forgive him.
Hmm.
I forgive him.
You forgave
You
the
know,
person who tried to
I
kill
forgave
you.
him. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I did.
So did you see him face
Yes, I
to face?
did.
And how was it when you faced him? When you looked at him and you
When I
sat there?
saw him face to face, when I saw him face to face, um, you know, first when you're going through these court matters and everything, you get assigned your prosecutors and all that kind of stuff. And they call you and their people ask the person who's going to court, that person asks, um you know is this sentence, is this a the sentence, this is the sentence we're offering this person, and what do you think, and let us talk to the victim. And when they came to me with the sentence for him, the first sentence they had for him, they was like, we want to offer him life without parole, all this kind of stuff they were saying. And I told my prosecutor, I said, no, I don't want this kid to have life. I don't want him to have life. He's 16. I know he knows what he did is wrong. I know he knows. But we serve a God of many chances. We serve a God of a first chance, a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. And I felt like once he go through whatever he needs to go through, the maturity part of it, that maybe he'll get up and while he's in prison and he'll say to the next young man or kid that comes through the prison system and say, you know, you need to change your life around. Because when I was 16, I shot my friend's mother and I had learned something from this, you know,
Yeah.
and help start changing some of the lives of the young men that's coming into the prison. That was always my prayer for him. And I told my prosecutor, I don't want him to have life. And they didn't give him life. I believe he got 50 years, all suspended, but 30. So he'll get a chance to come home and start life again.
Yeah.
And I'm praying that the life that he comes back into society with be a mature, God fearing life that he knows that just from what he did to me and watching me survive this and how many times he shot me, that is a God. Because
Yes.
if he had known the love of God, he would have never shot me,
Yes.
right?
So what was the
Because
final?
people
What
who
was the
know the
sentence? What was the sentence he received?
50 years all suspended with, I mean, except for 30. 50 all suspended with 30. And when I spoke to him at my victims impact with my victim impact statement, he ended up leaving out of the room because we did it on Zoom. And he looked a little emotional, but I don't know if his emotion came from the fact that he was getting that much time, or was it from the fact that he um he was feeling some kind of way about what he did to me. I wasn't sure. I couldn't really understand or get his cues. I couldn't really grasp him because he didn't really
Mm.
give too much eye contact, right?
Right.
So he didn't say he was sorry. So he didn't apologize, anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't get whether he was sorry or remorseful for what he did to me or not.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to know that I forgave him.
Yeah. Because
That I
forgiveness
forgave
is
him.
not for him, it's for you.
It
Forgiveness is
was
for you,
for
so
me.
you could move forward. Yeah. How's
Yes.
your son?
And,
Esmond,
and
Esmond want to know how your son doing. How has he been?
um my son which one? The one that was with me that
Yeah.
when I got shot?
Yeah.
My son, he was very angry. Very angry. He lived he was living with some guilt. What they call that, what, victim survivors guilt. Um because he felt like he left me. And I said, no, you didn't leave me, because you assumed that I was going to go in the same direction as you, but I didn't. I went opposite, which I'm glad I did, right? Because that allowed him to come after me. If we would have went the same way, um, like I said, my son probably would have gotten shot and
Yeah.
probably would have been deceased. And my son, that son is a really good kid. Really good guy. And I'm not saying that my other son isn't. It's just that with the juveniles, what we seeing down in Baltimore with the juveniles, it's like, you know a lot of them aren't strong enough to form their own identities. So it's like they following the leader, like, the leader of the pack. And so it's easier for them to join them than to not separate themselves from them. So that's what we're seeing a lot of in Baltimore. We're seeing a lot of young juveniles who are just doing the same things, because, like, my son, he didn't come from this house. He didn't come from that type of household. He didn't come from a household where my he had to go visit my husband in the prison, or he had to come home and didn't have food to eat, or he didn't have a roof over his head, or he didn't have clothing. You know, um, this particular son, who was friends with this young man, he had a full ride offer from the University of Georgia when he was in the seventh grade, because that's how good he was in football. Right? He had offers from different schools. He was like your all American athlete. He was good at everything that he um, participated for as sports. But for some reason, the street he gravitated to the streets.
Yeah.
Um, and uh, um, and he made bad choices. And that particular son, he's angry, and he feel guilt also, because he's like, mom, I would never do that to nobody's mother or
Right.
parent.
Or anybody for
He's,
that matter.
right. He said, mom, he said, you welcomed them into our home. You gave them snacks. My friend, snacks. You fed them. You cooked them good breakfast in the morning. You and my father. You know, when they would come over, lunch meat sandwich, chips and stuff like that. All that,
Yeah.
good stuff.
You want
And
to know a
so,
funny story? You want to know a funny story? I I trailed with police officers in Baltimore. This is me in
mhm,
Baltimore, doing a ride along with the Baltimore PD, police department
Mm-hmm.
there, and we had a chance to go through some areas there. And I was like a police officer for the day, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's a rough, rough, rough place. We got into situations where I swear that um, we had to go through some alleyway and a whole bunch of different things. But I know the alleyway you're talking about. I know those avenues. It's scary to go through there because there's so much things I think could happen in the back there. So I understand that place is a rough place. Has it gotten better over time?
Baltimore hasn't gotten better. And unfortunately, I was born and raised in Baltimore. And for me, growing up in Baltimore, I grew up in the area right near the well-known Johns Hopkins Hospital.
Hmm.
Um,
I was
right,
there. I was there. I was there. We went there to check someone because
yeah.
someone got shot, and we went to that hospital. I know exactly where it is.
So if you go a little bit more south of Johns Hopkins, there used to be this townhouse complex that we used to live in called Chapel Hill Homes. And then right across the street from Hopkins, it used to be another um, project home called Broadway Homes. That's where my mom and my grandmother and them used to live in those. But when my mom and us moved out, we moved into the newer homes, which was called Chapel Hill Homes. Um, and then up a little bit, it was an area called Butchers Hill, which was like a mixed community with Black people, Indians, and Caucasian people. And so if you go to, it's an area called Patterson Park. Did you
Right.
visit that area? So
I
the area of
I'm
Patterson
sure we
Park,
did.
yeah. So the area of Patterson Park, it's if you go to the other side of the park, it's more um well-to-do, more Caucasian people. And
Yeah.
for me, I used to go to school. I grew up, I went to middle school in that area over there. And I can remember when we were younger, if you go to that side of the park at a certain time, that you wasn't welcome, right?
Yeah.
You only was allowed to go to that side of the park if you went to school over there or whatever. And that was only in the early 80s for us. Um, but for us growing up, for me growing up in Baltimore, I didn't have a bad experience growing up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Um, I started seeing a change in Baltimore when we started seeing the crack
The crack
epidemic
epidemic.
come
Yeah.
through.
Because and that's the problem with that area, right? There's a huge disparity. Like on one block is a well-to-do neighborhood, big
Mm-hmm.
houses, it just
Mm-hmm.
massive houses and mansions. And then you go ahead this way, a whole set of abandoned properties. Because what I heard
Yeah.
with the crack epidemic that passed there, a lot of people was selling their homes for crack,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So those houses
Yes.
are left abandoned, like hundreds of houses along that strip
Mm-hmm.
area there. And that
Mm-hmm.
has been the downfall for Baltimore. And that area deteriorated so bad over a short period of time, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, you know, for for me, growing up, um, y- our elementary school, we had good elementary schools back then. We had good middle schools. I went to a good middle school. Um, I went to a great high school. I ended up going, when I graduated middle school, I went to Western Senior High School, and then I became a teenage mother. I was a teenage mother. My husband and I, back then we weren't married, but we ended up becoming young parents. And statistically, I beat the odds. I ended up graduating from school. I end up, going to college. I end up, my son, my oldest child, ended up graduating from school. He ended up going to college, graduating from college, and things like that. So I beat the statistics at that time because when I had my oldest son, there was an epidemic also of teenage mothers too.
Mhm.
So Baltimore had this big epidemic of teenage mothers during the 80s. We had this big epidemic of crack cocaine during the 80s. And so what I think what's happening in Baltimore now, um, I'm speaking on my opinion because me being a young mother and having a child now who's in his mid 30s, almost late 30s, is that for me, um, I I think a lot of parents during that era overcompensated the children.
Right.
And what I mean by that is you don't have to work, you don't have to do this, and you don't have to do that. I think my generation was the last generation of, oh, we got out there, we worked for what we want, we helped the neighbors, we kept the neighborhood clean, we did all these things, and now we starting to see that the generation that when I had my son, um, a lot of those young people don't want to work anymore. They don't
Yeah,
want to work. They they
that's
they
right.
think they have this sense of entitlement, and so now those my son's my son's generation, they're having babies now, and so they're the babies that's now doing all of the carjackings, the robbing of people. We got a lot of young people getting murdered in the city. It's just so unbelievable and it's so sad. And ever since I got shot, you know, my whole thing has been um my whole thing has been people are dying over assumptions, rumors, and lies
Yes.
because people assume that somebody did something when they didn't do it,
Yeah.
and people are quick to get on a rumor mill and pass the rumor along without factual evidence. And then the lies that somebody put on somebody and people believe it. It's crazy how people believe a lie before they believe the truth, you know. And so and these kids, these young people don't have effective communication. They don't know
True.
how to communicate with each other anymore.
True. It's serious, serious generation. Listen, we're past that time frame, but I want you to tell our audience about your new book because you have a new book coming out that outline your story. Tell us
Yes,
about that. When would it be available? When could they get it? And all of that stuff. And I'll make sure that everyone, I at least on my staff, I'll instruct my producer to support your book as well. Tell us about
yes,
the new book and when it's going to be.
yes. So on Black Friday, I am releasing my book, From Bullets to Blessings.
Hmm.
Um, it's going to be on Amazon. Um, you can also, I'll send you a link of
Right.
um, of how to purchase it through my link. Also, I'm just so excited about this book coming out because this book has been pushed back several times.
Yes.
Um, but it's an awesome book. It's a book about resilience, perseverance, and forgiveness. Because that's what it takes. It takes all of that to overcome. And I'm an overcomer, and I'm here to share the testimony and to help somebody else along with my story, to let them know that forgiveness is possible, perseverance is possible, and resilience is possible. You know,
Absolutely.
um, so yes, so be on the lookout Black Friday for From Bullets to Blessings, written
From
by
bullets to
Marie
blessing. That's
Brandon.
right. Appropriate time
Yeah,
as well to launch it. Marty, thank you so much for sharing your story.
yeah,
You
thank
are
you.
someone with tremendous resilience, and we appreciate you that you could articulate all that happened to you. And this would serve as an example for young people understand that crime don't pay because he was 16. Look, he threw away his whole entire life. He got up to 50 years in
Hmm.
jail. He's going to be there for the base part of his adult life. He's going to come out an old man, right? Because he made a ignorant decision when he was 16 years old. So the young people that's watching, let that be an example. And for the parents, you should play that back for them because nothing good happens when you have that type of ignorance and these young people with their guns. But nevertheless, Marty was able to forgive him for that. The court didn't forgive him. He is going to spend the rest, well, a good part of his adult life in jail. Come out after he's 60 something years old, an old man, and have to spend the rest of his life just dwindling away, having to do absolutely nothing with his life for making a bad decision. Thank you, Marty. We appreciate you so much, and we're going to push
All
that
right. Thank you.
and let people know where they could get it. Thanks again.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Yeah. So again, guys, there's a story beneath it all. There's definitely a story beneath this whole entire Marty's story here. It's one of resilience, it's one of strength, and it's one of forgiveness. And her book, I'm excited that that book is actually going to come out because it's been in the making for a long time. And once that book is available and ready, we'll make sure to share the link right here on Ride Along Live. And we are going to also support buying a few of her books as a show of support for her. All right. And for anyone who been through anything like this, you could relate. I see Charlotte Nurse in there. Definitely could relate. Totally different circumstance, but she understands resilience. She understands overcoming. She understands situations where you're put in that position, right? Life or death position. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I appreciate Marty coming in and sharing her story here with us on the ride. We are above time a little bit over the time, guys. So we want to encourage you and remind you that Ride Along Live, this is the time. It's going to start at 6 Eastern time, but that means 7 in the Caribbean. So mark it on your calendar. This is our time, 7 p.m. All right? Your time. Got to tell you about this really quickly that the Ride Tuk Tuk Tours, which you've been hearing so much about, is ready to launch. You ready to launch your thing, man? You want to find out more? Listen to this.
Experience? Hop on the Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tour and explore Grenada like never before. Feel the tropical breeze, sip on authentic Caribbean rum punch, and cruise through Grenada's stunning scenery in our unique and fun tuk-tuks. It's the perfect blend of adventure and island flavor. Book your unforgettable tour now at ride.gd or call 473-422-1011. Don't just see Grenada, experience it with Ride Tuk Tuk Rum Punch Tours today.
What if you had a choice? A choice of joining a line or a choice of making your purchases online? What would you choose? While you ponder on that, the National Lotteries Authority has provided another purchasing option. All their games are now available online. Yes, Grenadians! From wherever you are, purchase your favorite daily and jackpot type games using any electronic device. Register on the NLA's website at www.nla.gd. Top up your account and enjoy online lottery gaming at your convenience. We're taking shopping comfort up several notches. But the choice is yours. Join a line or buy online. NLA, make your dreams come true.
To rent a car in Grenada? Welcome to Ride Car Rental, offering efficient, time-saving service with affordable rates and 100% paperless rentals. Whether you're visiting or need a quick ride, we've got you covered. Call now at 473-422-1011 and get behind the wheel today. Ride Car Rental, where convenience meets the road.
Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a e-bike today. and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent at eBike.
Or event to the next level? Advertise on Ride Along Live and reach over 10 million viewers worldwide every month. With a global audience tuning in for the latest news, entertainment, and culture, your message will get the exposure it deserves. Don't miss the opportunity to showcase your brand to a diverse and engaged audience. Ride Along Live, where the world watches and your business grows. Contact us today to get started.
Yeah, so we are back. Sorry, let me take it. All right, yeah, guys. So we've been telling you about the Ride Tuk Tuks, and a lot of you guys have been inquiring about how can you be a part of this? How could you book? How could you be a part? Now, first, let me say this is something that we've been working on for a while, and we like to do things in a timing, right? So last year we launched the ride excursions and tours with our e-bikes. Now the tuk tuks are here. So if you're going to be in Grenada, you're in Grenada, or you're traveling and you want to experience our tour, and it's not only for tourists, by the way. You want to check it out? This is how you do. So you go to ride.gd. That's RYDE. That's .gd. That's where I'm at right now. That's the website. If you scroll along the website, you'll see very user-friendly website. Very easy and user-friendly. All right. Simple, simple stuff. All right. So let's go back up to the top. It gives you an option of booking your tuk-tuk if you want to book an e-bike, or if you want to book a birthday party or celebration, or even a car rental. Because of course, Ride offers car rental while you're in Grenada. So let's start. If you want to book a tuk-tuk, it's very simple. Click that right here, and you go right in. You choose whichever package, because we have a lot of packages, a lot of package. For instance, an example. If you want to book one of our History of Grenada tour, you just click here, put in your information. It's very easy. You select the date starting at the 10th. So anytime after the 10th, you could book. Select how many people, price quoted in US. You select the time that's available. And it's very simple. Put that information in and click some of the quick disclaimers, and voila. Put your information in, credit card payment, and you're done. But we just added some additional features, guys, for those of you who wants to take it another level. So you don't want to do a traditional tour, but instead you may have a birthday celebration, a party. Yeah, we also cater for you as well. If you want to get, if you have a birthday party, we offer groups of 4. You go to that page and you click and you get all the information how you could book your birthday party. We provide the cake, the flowers, the balloons, the whole nine, guys. So you could just go down to the page, find out all about our birthday celebration, right? Tuk Tuk birthday celebration, and you book right here. All right. So that's for a group of 4, right? So that price here is for a group of 4 friends, right? 4 friends. And there are additions, There are additions. There are additional things. So you could add, if you want to add additional persons, if you want to add more time, if you want a bottle of wine, if you want a bottle of champagne, if you want t-shirts, if you want cake for the party, red wine, white wine, you could add all of those stuff as additions. So it is all available on ride.gd. All right. So this is it. Looking forward to see you guys on the ride. After the 10th of this month, you are ready to ride. You are ready to ride. Again, guys, you go to the website, it's ride.gd. That's ride.gd. You could book right now and enjoy the ride tuk tuk, ride e bike on the island of Grenada. It's ride. Also, you could scan this QR code. Scan this QR code for extra savings when you book with Ride. Thank you guys again. Want to thank the Beacon Insurance guys. Don't forget Beacon Insurance offering so much more, right? Health insurance aspect of it as well. So check out Beacon Insurance, beacon.com. Ad is also promoted and pushed on the page. You can check that out. All right, flying to Grenada. You want to fly with JetBlue? JetBlue. Check them out right now at jetblue.com. That's jetblue.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of our program, Right Along. On the behalf of all of our production team here at Right Along Live, senior executive producer Lois, JJ, and the entire team, say good night. Catch you guys again tomorrow. Election day. Make sure you go out and vote. Make sure you go out and vote. It's election day tomorrow. Go out and vote. We're going to be doing full coverage from 7 p.m. tomorrow. All right? Good night.
Right Along Live.
Across the street, love and joy in the breeze. Right along live, if you please. You can hope. Making dirt across the seas. Love and joy in the breeze. Ride along live, if you please. Bringing hope with such ease. Ride along, ride along. Join the fans, let's sing the song. From island to island strong, with the host we belong.